The reason you're stuck in blue ranks is because you are not mashing. Well, that is an exaggeration, but not really, completely wrong. Somebody probably told you when you're starting off that if you're minus, you shouldn't press, and that's called honest Tekken. Well, I'm here to tell you, that's all baloney, I tell you. This is propaganda spread by people who refuse to acknowledge that they're not adapting to your playstyle. Because if you know your opponent's mashing, frame trap them, prevent them from mashing. I'm Breakfast, and I am here to show you how to improve your mashing by knowing frames. Just because someone is plus doesn't mean they get to do everything and anything to you. No human will be playing frame tight for every time, right? It's just completely impossible. And you will be taking advantage of that. And hopefully, right after this video, you will be mashing better, or how they call it, calculative mashing. You know what I'm saying? Alright, without wasting any more of your precious time, let's go ahead and start labbing. Again, I will be focusing on Bryan's back one, which is a very common move Bryan's throw out. And you might be wondering, why Bryan? I fight a lot of Bryans, okay? Ranked, tournaments, quick match, everywhere. Bryan's everywhere. So I feel like I got some good knowledge on how to mash against him. So first, we must establish how a masher thinks, right? A calculative masher, not just a random masher. So the way I go around learning how to mash is first thinking, how often can I mash, and is it smart to mash, right? Let's go ahead and figure that out. Bryan's back one is a 20 frame mid that is +4 on block and +7 on hit. That's the first part, right? That's important. You gotta know what the move is. The second part is, I feel like, what's more important. So after blocking your back one, or Bryan's back one, what can he do? Or what does he do? I am going to focus on a few common moves that Bryan's throw out after after their back one is blocked. This will vary case to case for Bryan's, but you as a masher should know or should recognize their patterns too. But that's another video. I don't know. Maybe not. So first is going to be his G clef. This is going to be 10 frames. The next one is going to be jet upper. His launcher is 14 frames. It's a high. The next one is his down forward one strings, which is hit confirmable. And then the next one is 1+2, the 1+2 strings. It tracks, it stops people from stepping. The next one is also very common. After back one, Bryan's do another back one or QCB one. And then after that, I feel like Bryan's do lows as well. They do a low. So now that we've established, the common moves that they do, again, there might be more, like grabs, armor, there's a lot that Bryan's can do. But we're gonna focus on those things that I have mentioned. Alright, so now let's start mashing. Since that is a 10 framer, right? Since I am -4, even if I do my jab, which is also 10 frames, because I'm -4, it adds to the frame startup, I guess, is how you can think of it. So my 10 frame becomes essentially a 14 frame, which means a jab will beat me. So we've established that we can't mash after 1, 2, 4, but we know that we can step, and also you can duck. So let's go ahead and try jet upper. So since I am -4 and he is going to be doing a 14 frame move, we know that it's going to be 10 frame, right? And what's a 10 frame? A jab. So that means even if I jab, it's gonna get traded and I'm gonna get launched. Let's see. And then he can continue the combo. But what's the counterplay to this, right? step, very micro step, and you know, he whiffs and you can launch him too. So with that being in mind, what will the Bryan do? Down forward 1, it catches step. That's a 15 framer, and because it's 15 frames and I'm only -4, right? I think I'm gonna be regurgitating. I don't know the word. I'm gonna be repeating this, but since I am -4, he's going to do a 15 frame move. 15 -4 is going to be an 11 frame move, but our jab is faster than an 11 frame. It's a 10 frame. So that means we can mash. All right, so we can mash. Next one is going to be this. Another option to stop people from stepping Bryan. So like back 1. Right? I get track. Both sides, of course, it's a tracking move, right? We gotta look at what the startup is. You can see it is 17 frames. And just like the other one, you know, we can mash on here. Oops. See that counter hit? So that's another thing that we can mash on. Okay, next one is going to be back 1 into QCB 1. Even though you can see here that QCB 1 is 13 frames, right? Because he's recovering and you have to input the QCB input, right? It's gonna add some frames in there, and it's very hard for you to actually get that 13 frame. Yeah, I think it's virtually impossible, especially online. So with that being said, even though it should technically be a frame trap, you can mash him out of that. So that is going to be the same thing with his back 1, as we've established before. Back 1 is 20 frames, yada yada, -4, 20 frames -4 is going to be 16 frames, and our jab will win. And you know, just so you know, a usual launcher for every character, I think everybody has it, is 15 frames. And what's faster than 16 frames? A 15 frame. Oops, a 15 frame. So you can disrespect that. The only reason why I like to use a jab 1-2-1, because first of all, Dragunov has one of the best jab game. This is hit confirmable, wall splat, heat engager, right? So that's why I like to opt for the 10 frames always, because also they have to be frame tight for them to beat your jab. If they do anything that is 1 frame above what they should, they're dead, especially on the wall. So that's just a little background on why I like to use jabs. So next one is going to be a low. Like we're gonna do 2 lows. One is down 4 and then one is hatchet. Both are common tools Bryan use. So let's see. So low is a 15 frame. And what did we learn about addition and subtraction earlier? 15 -4 is going to be 11, and that beats. That is beaten by a jab. And same thing with hatchet. Hatchet is very slow. I mean, not very slow, but it's 20 frames, right? So like, you know, plus the input of QCB again is going to be a little slower. So I know I was just rambling there about frames on what to mash, like when you can mash. So let's go ahead and actually get into the mind of the masher. You know you can mash on certain moves, but when do you know that you can actually mash? Because Bryans will change their Bryans will actually change their timing, their movement, right? And this is where I forgot who said it, but it's a very smart dude, right? Probably somewhere there. Is that you shouldn't fight the player. I mean, you shouldn't fight the character. You should fight the player. So if the Bryan keeps on doing slow moves, right? Doing back ones into back ones into 1+2, back one into down forward 1, or you know, they're not adjusting to you, they probably don't know their own frames. So that's where you can take advantage and just mash them out of everything. Until I like to do a couple interactions of just mashing, and then just stand still every other interaction or whatever, you know, respect their frames, sidestep, whatever. Because you know, the mental game. You know, you're mashing, you're gonna expect them to be like, okay, maybe they will frame trap me this time, so now I will stop mashing. You know? Like, okay, I've been mashing for a while, he's gonna jet upper me. Sidestep, and kill. Oh, bad combo. Sidestep and kill. Oh, bad combo. I haven't played Dragon of in a while. Anyways, you get the point. You have to be calculative. Calculative. English is not my first language. English is my city. Or I forgot what the song is. England is my city. So what I'm saying is, you want to be aware of what your opponent's options are after a plus frame, so that you can know the mind games, you know, within that plus frames, and you can mash accordingly. And of course, situations like if you're on the wall, right? I wouldn't recommend mashing as much because the risk reward is very bad. So let's say you are out here in the open, right? You want to challenge Bryan, for example. You want to mash. This is the first interaction. And the first interaction, he does his heat engager G clef, which is the 1-2-4. It's a frame trap. You can't mash in there. Even if you get hit, right? Even if you get hit, the most that you get is 38 damage plus, you know, plus 9 mix up, and you're gonna have to respect it, or like whatever, right? It's not that bad. It's bad, but it's not that bad. Compare it to when you're on the wall. $38 damage plus combo, which probably goes into like 100, plus Oki from the Bryan, taunt Okis, 2-touch, you're dead, right? So you gotta be smart when mashing. You gotta weigh in the risk and reward. Like, okay, if I mash here and I get hit, will I die? Okay, I still have a bunch of health. I got you know, I got some room to like spare to learn what his patterns are, challenge him, you know, and you can take that information throughout the following rounds, and then you can mash accordingly. So this is not just about mashing as well, because you can do the same thing with sidestepping. So like, all right, they keep doing linear moves after their plus frames. I'm a sidestep. Compared to like, okay, after the plus frames I sidestepped, they did a homing mid. I got knocked out. I got comboed, whatever. You know, next time is that they're probably gonna do the same, or maybe, you know, they're gonna mix it up. You're gonna have to fight the opponent instead of the character. So those are the things that I think about when mashing. I hope you liked this video. I hope it was helpful. Make sure to lab, make sure to know your frames, make sure to know what the counterplays are to the counterplay, all that nerdy stuff. But peace out and be a masher.